Hello again, Professor Graysen. Today I'm doing a video on revising my Writing to Explore essay on how My Little Pony can help children learn English. I know often tend to start my videos with when I first came to America, but I feel like that's the most prominent part of my life where everything has changed. In that essay, you put that you would like for me to describe what it was like, to all of a sudden move to another side of the world, so I'm gonna get into that. For me, it was always like, I'm very happy and very fortunate to move to America since it has way more freedom of speech and, all these good things that Americans fought for. But it's hard to adjust things because, my mom used to say that coming here was like you're blindfolded in the dark and then you're trying to feel everything out with your hands. And I have to completely agree with her on that, of how it made me feel. But obviously it was different for her because she had two daughters and I'm a daughter, so I'm basically dependent on her. So it was definitely harder for my mom to get used to everything and, learn English since she was speaking Chinese for like 50 years. And I've only been speaking Chinese for 9 years at the time when I was only 9. So when I was back in China, I remember a year or like 7 months or so before I actually moved to America, I was scrolling through this website that, pirated some children's shows that, was appealing to me. And I saw My Little Pony. So I was like, this is pretty cool because I was pretty into My Little Pony, but like not the new generation when I was a kid. And I used to have a matching pony doll with my sister. So yeah, that was that drew me in mainly. But the thing is, it's not the visuals that really draw me. I mean, they're cool. I feel like they're very good for preteens. And I watched the English dub, like the original dub, but with Chinese subtitles. And I was locked in. Like, the first time I watched it, I was just locked in on My Little Pony. I thought that was awesome. Like, I learned so many stuff about friendship and, like, daily life stuff that are just good and, how to take things in a positive way after solving out a hard situation. And I feel like it's a very good developmental show for children, even though it could be a little intense sometimes. So I think I would watch the first season to the 4th or 5th season, and I would rewatch all of the episodes so often. It was my favorite thing to watch as a kid, and it was to the point where my mom was like, "Oh, you should like watch it without the subtitles, so you only see the English version for it." And honestly, without the subtitles, it was pretty easy by like the way the characters express their, facial expressions and the way their tone is. And I feel like English is such an expressive language that you can basically guess what they're talking about without actually knowing what they're talking about. And that was the case for the characters from My Little Pony. Even after I came to America, my sister bought a Netflix subscription, and they had My Little Pony on there, but with new seasons and everything. So I was watching the new seasons and they didn't have Chinese subtitles, and I still really loved it. Like, I didn't really understand what they're talking about, and I didn't really learn too much, but I learned a lot of words, a lot of vocabulary from it. And that was very, very useful, not just by being in the country and being surrounded by everything that is English that made me learn, but it's also the shows and movies I watched as a kid that made me learn as well. For example, in My Little Pony, they would use like the word awesome or use the word shoot instead of saying like shit, because it's a children's show. Like it made me pick up a lot of things Americans would say in their casual language. Where shows like, I remember watching Ever After High, and my sister knew more language at the time because she came to America a little before I did. In Ever After High, they would use this word destiny, like, oh, this is my destiny, but no, I want to do this, but this is my destiny. I remember she walked in on me watching that, and she's like, doesn't destiny means like 命运 means just like destiny, like what you're destined to do? And I'm like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Like, they overuse that word. And when a show specifically overuse one word, it clicks something in your brain. It's like, oh, this is like the main point of the show. I have to know what they're talking about in order to understand the plot of the show. I was just doing some research on some online websites and parents saying like language learning through My Little Pony, and it's off of languageandkids.wordpress.com, and a lot of the parents on here are saying that it is a very good it really develops a child's brain in a positive way when you watch My Little Pony as a kid. I was actually rewatching My Little Pony last winter. Yes, I'm in college and I was rewatching My Little Pony. But I was watching with my friend, and she was telling me that, this is a show, she's never watched it before. And she was telling me that every single episode there's like no plot fillers. And it's just very good for a child's developmental skills to watch My Little Pony. This show really incorporates how like clever humor and storytelling through easy language and the characters and animations. It teaches you lessons on friendships, on families, and on just personal, even romance in the show, and how sometimes, you don't have to be always with your friends in order to have everlasting friendships. It can just, and family is like, oh, you can't, marry this person because they're a pear and not an apple. Like that was one episode from a later season that, one of the ponies is like from the apple family and the other pony was from the pear family, and then they couldn't be together. It's like Romeo and Juliet type of plot. And, at the end, the ponies like understand each other, and they're just like, it's a children's show. They always have to, end up okay. Or there's themes on how, I remember in the last episode for the last season, like the closing episode, it was like our main character, Twilight Sparkle, she becomes a princess. And then, at the end, we have 6 main characters, including the main character Twilight, and at the end, like they're all old, but they're still friends even though they're so different. They're different ponies with different purposes in life, and often in the show they often talks about like a cutie mark, which is basically something on like the pony's butt. It's like a logo basically, and it says like what you're destined to be like, what you're put on this pony planet to do. And I feel like that helps a lot of kids to like determine what they want, which pony you reside with and what you want to do. I feel like it's very useful and very empowering for kids. But anyway, at the end of the day, I feel like watching the show as a kid was very good for my brain to develop a lot of concepts in life, such as friendships, obviously, family love, romantic love, and how to deal with situations as well. A big part of my essay was learning English. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching this, and I hope you have a great rest of the semester, Professor Graysen. Thank you very much for everything that you've done for us, and bye!